Alright, walking home video. Just moved there. Yeah, different. It's just the sun, you know. I love this time of night. It's kind of nice. But anyway, yeah, it's always coming up. This, well, it's not always coming up. It just seems to be lately. Like people are having a hard time. Some people grasping the concept of prevention, or the idea that the non-existent exists, the alternative reality as a reality. That the fact is that if you prevent a rape, you've essentially created a different world where the rape didn't happen. And the alternative world still has a meaning, even though now it doesn't exist. You know, it sort of does. Alright, gonna interrupt my own video with another video, just to illustrate the point that now there's a different world, a different reality. It would have been one way, but now it's a new way, because I've changed it. And there's a whole realm of possible changes. Okay, see, I could have made another interruption right here, and I'm going to choose not to instead. Yeah, see? So that's a possibility. So there's a whole bunch of different things that could be. And when you prevent something that would have been from being, that's a good thing. There's a benefit to preventing stuff. I mean, it's a perfectly good word. I think David Benatar understands the word. Kind of referencing Das Book here. I just really don't see the necessity to have to fight and argue about what are basic concepts. The fact that there are things that could be just really shouldn't elude people's conceptual grasp. And that if we allowed the things that could be to be, and they were bad things, bad experiences, that would be stupid. Because we would create bad experiences, more of them. And that's sort of the point here, is that life opens a door to a lot of negative possibilities. And the reason why that door is opened is the question. Maybe that's the good way to put this. I mean, I've tried to get to it from lots of angles. Like you have to have a reason to gamble with somebody else's money, or to drink and drive, or to drive with excessive speed. That you have to be on some sort of rescue mission. You have to be saving something from harm. And so a trivial excuse isn't a good enough excuse. And so that's sort of what life does. Sentient life, having it, creating it. You're exposing sentience to harm. And are you doing it for a reason that makes some kind of sense? Does it really need to exist? I mean, obviously, we can use our imagination to contemplate billions and billions and billions and billions of sentient life forms. We can, just as we can imagine to some extent, obviously we can't fully comprehend it proportionally, but we can certainly imagine a concentration camp at a time. And then we can imagine its non-existence. Would it be great if it didn't exist? If people didn't suffer that horror? And you can do the same thing here. We can imagine things and say, well, they're certainly subjected to no harm. The non-existent Martians are not in pain. They're not missing something necessary to them. We don't lament for their non-existence. So what would be our cause, our reason to expose them to the possibility of enduring harm. And one can't come up with a good answer to that question, because our life is driven by desire, by need, by hunger. The question would be as kind of naive and stupid as asking the question, would you eat if you weren't hungry, if you had no taste for it, no desire to, if the experience wasn't innately rewarding? Yeah, it just doesn't work. It just isn't going to happen. And so there's no rational cause to populate Mars, or Jupiter, or Venus. There's no rational reason to think the universe would be better off if we mutated some 4-eyed humans or 8-eyed humans and abandoned them on Saturn because we made them so they could live there. What would be the purpose of it? What would be the accomplishment? Except to open a door to harm. There would be no, again, I mean, the argument is basically this, that logically, for something to be good, it has to satisfy a negative condition, a deprivation, or an overt harm. So if it isn't fixing a desire, a deprivation, or a being in a highly negative, hurtful position or condition, then it isn't a doable action. It isn't a functionable, serviceable, sensible, rational, reasonable thing to do. And so the argument again comes down to these procreators, and that they're doing it to serve their own purposes, their own narrow individual purposes, and that's not a good enough reason to expose the new consciousness to harm. Yeah, it really isn't. You have to be able to prove or demonstrate that over time, perpetuating the game produces a net benefit of some kind. And I don't think there's any rational or logical argument that can describe that benefit, because the universe doesn't need a car, and it certainly doesn't need the clunker that sentience is. There's more friction than function, more waste than purpose, and it's fail. Perfection it's a zero-sum game. Perfection is cleaning up all the vulnerability you create by creating it. It's just resolving the need that didn't need to exist, and that's perfection. I mean, give it up. It's a game that just can't be played to win. You can only play it to reduce your losses, minimize losses, but you can't play it to win. Yeah. All right. I mean, I've been all over this before, so I guess I'll have to. I don't know what I'll have to do. I'll have to sit on this rotten log and think about it, I guess. But I don't know. I don't know what needs to be said or how it needs to be said, but I'm going to have to do that. I guess people keep mixing these arguments and blending them, and so that's really part of the problem. Is you got to separate each issue, and but some people don't even get the pain thing, and they think most suffering and pleasure is somehow hard to decipher, and that we can't even tell the difference between the two, and that there's no such thing as a profoundly steep gradient of degree. But anyway, whatever. People are just playing games, as they don't want to admit that it is fail, because that doesn't suit their it takes the edge off, I guess. It's like finding out the actor in the movie is a debaucherous child molester or something, and maybe that'll distract you and you just won't be able to watch the movie or enjoy it as much. So I guess if somebody tells you life is stupid, then you can't play anymore, which I suppose is partly true, but I mean, there's no point in playing if you're playing wrong. And frankly, if you're leaking gas, you're playing the life game wrong. Alright, I'm leaking oil, whatever. Yeah, suitable your own. You can have your own metaphor. Alright, anyway. Yeah, that was a rough day. Weather's getting a little funky. It's fucking up my nerve damage in my jaw. But anyway, it's my problem. Won't complain, blah blah blah. Hibiscus are nice. We'll look at flowers for the end of the video. That would be nice. God, I gotta cut this grass. Yeah, I gotta cut it so I can't even see the obstacles. It's amazing I don't break my neck one of these days. I almost fall down a tremendous amount of times. I do it all the time. Almost fell down. Look at those big hook, big in your hand comparison. Big flowers. Big. Look, my foot. I got red ones, and the white ones, and the between ones. Yeah, nice. Except for the rain knocking them down. So anyway, till next time and such.